Hey everyone, I'm Tom. Welcome to Kaijutopia. Godzilla Minus One's full trailer dropped, and it left a monstrously sized impression on me. In this video, I'll be giving a brief recap of the trailer before sharing my honest thoughts on a film that seems destined to change kaiju cinema as we know it. The trailer begins with crowds of people running for their lives. The screaming alone is terrifying and unnerving to listen to. There's so much chaos in the panic, like a little child looking for her parents. We hear someone shout, "What is it?" To which someone responds, "I don't know, something big." After a few quick shots, we hear a spine-chilling scream from a train conductor, only then to see a train cart being impossibly thrown through the air. It crashes down and everything cuts to black, to the sound of two humongous footsteps. It's then Godzilla's face emerges out of a veil of smoke. We then see one of the most memorable scenes in the trailer, a scene that'll likely become one of the most iconic shots in the kaiju genre moving forward. We see one of the protagonists, Noriko Oishi, played by Minami Hamambe, looking outside, Godzilla's eerie, grimdark reflection looming over her, as she says, "Is that Godzilla?" Let's talk about this for a moment. At this point, Godzilla has a name, and she's heard of him. This leads me to believe the scenes we see of Godzilla out at sea happen earlier in the events of the film, which then explains why his appearance in those shots are obscured compared to him having a greater visible presence when he makes landfall in Tokyo. Suddenly, Godzilla bites down on the train, and this could be the same one we saw earlier being tossed through the air. I have a sneaking suspicion that's exactly what happens, and hopefully the girl and the other passengers escaped in time. The former likely survived, as we later see her and co-protagonist Koichi Shikishima, played by Ryunosuke Kamiki, running for their lives. Noriko does look like she's in serious pain. Hundreds try to flee from Godzilla's rampage. Many don't appear to make it, as Godzilla crushes them with impunity. In another instantly iconic shot, we see an atomic bomb exploding in the heart of Tokyo, as Godzilla and dozens of Japanese onlookers watch on in complete silence. There are huge ramifications of this. Has history once again repeated itself, where the situation seems so dire and hopeless that an atomic bomb is used? It's possible Godzilla's atomic breath could be responsible. However, it seems unlikely, as we'll soon discover. Buildings are leveled. Tokyo is in ruins. It's then the captions tell us post-war Japan lost everything. But then everything goes from zero, losing everything, to minus. We see a series of shots quickly blended together. Godzilla swimming under a boat, compelling human drama, an unraveling government conspiracy, Godzilla's war at sea, and on. In the end, several things are seen and heard that tell us exactly what we need to know about this movie. One of the characters says, "That monster will never forgive us." Now, assuming this line wasn't edited together, which is most certainly possible, this could mean a number of things. They could be talking about Godzilla directly, as in he will never forgive us for something that has already happened or will. It could also perhaps be symbolic, a sort of representation of humanity's dark side, and how the sins of the past, the people that we've hurt. So the question is, will that monster that we've created, the monster that lurks within our very hearts and minds, will it ever forgive us for our transgressions, for how we have treated each other. That's hard to say. And recall that I did a previous video where the director flatly states that Godzilla is the embodiment of death itself. And it's almost like asking, will death ever forgive us? Which is kind of like, you answered your own question there. Then there's this tagline, survive and fight. This has a dual meaning, as it applies not only to the war-torn Japanese people, but to Godzilla as well. Both sides will be fighting for survival, and war is as grim as it gets, and peace seems unlikely. I can't imagine that the humans find a way to communicate with Godzilla. I mean, it's not like using the Orca device from the MonsterVerse films, right? I find that highly unlikely. This is going to be a fight for survival, and man, it's also important to remember that during this time period, I believe this takes place during 1947, Japan is defenseless. It's why it relies heavily on the US military, which apparently becomes desperate enough to use atomic bombs. Finally, in the closing seconds of the trailer, we witness a severely burned Godzilla howling in pain and rage. I suspect an atomic explosion is responsible. Now, anything could happen after this. Godzilla could be bellowing in defiance to the entire human race and fully unleashes his wrath, or this is tantamount to a death rattle, Godzilla's last will and testament as he breathes his last breath. We will have to wait and see. Either way, it is a very striking way to end the trailer. It leaves an impression. Like, that image of Godzilla horrifically burned, which is in many respects just a callback to the victims of the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings. It's very much like how Godzilla himself, not many know this, but Godzilla in the first Godzilla film is a victim of the horrors of nuclear war, of what nuclear weapons can do, the unspeakable pain and mass devastation these weapons can and have unleashed onto the world. So seeing that last shot just left a burning impression in my mind. I've like, speaking to you now, I can just see it still. I can hear it. Don't be surprised if that line, that monster will never forgive us, comes into play after. Like, that line could be uttered after Godzilla not only survives the atomic bomb, but then begins to unleash his wrath, cutting a swath of destruction across an already war-torn Japan. So this is hands down the best trailer for a kaiju film I've ever seen. It's as haunting as it is terrifying. It's a heart-pounding, edge-of-your-seat experience. If Godzilla Minus One matches the trailer's tone, and I believe it will, if the full movie itself is able to instill the feelings that I felt while watching this trailer, I believe Godzilla Minus One will become one of the best Godzilla films ever made. I haven't been this excited for a Godzilla film in a long time. I love and adore the MonsterVerse films, but Godzilla Minus One looks stunning. I haven't been this hyped since Godzilla 2014's trailer first dropped, which this film seems to have taken some inspiration from. So, what are your thoughts on the Godzilla Minus One trailer? What do you think will happen in the story? Please share your thoughts down below with me, guys. I really love reading your comments, and I appreciate your feedback. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. This is Thomas Fairchild signing off from Kaijutopia.